Hi, and welcome to Sacred and Profane. I'm Em.
And I'm Terry Lynn.
And today we're going to talk about the Empress. So, pulling it up. The Empress is number 3 on the tarot, and this leaf and tree is coming in for a hug right now, which is so appropriate to talk about this archetype.
Sure is.
You want to take it away, Ma?
So the Empress in the tarot is Mother Earth. And she, where the Priestess in the tarot is got some concealment to her. She's very studied. She has strong intuition. She is not always out in the world as much. She's known as being very wise, but she can also be so within herself that she can take years, kind of like the monk archetype in yoga, where you kind of go away from the world and just study, develop your intuition, understand the mysteries and the magic for a long time before you speak them to the world. And then the Empress is different than that. She's in the world. She is the role of the householder, and she is known for her nurturing, her absolute abundance, the depth of her beauty. And so for me, this reminds me of Lakshmi, one of my patron goddesses, Sri Lakshmi. So what Lakshmi represents and what the Empress embodies is a depth of rich soul beauty. Not surface beauty that we get so wrapped up in, although goddesses can be quite beautiful. It's a depth of soul beauty that when you look into someone's eyes and you see a resonance there and you see how profoundly beautiful they are. Like when you look at me, Em, and you call me beautiful, you're seeing that depth of soul beauty, that deep soul beauty that really comes from stirring up your shit and really getting in and working with shadow and knowing yourself and loving yourself through all the shit, and then emerging feeling authentically abundant from the deep practices, authentically beautiful from churning up all of that shadow, ego, all of the darker stuff.
Yeah. So on the note of the shadow and the darker, the part of what could make this archetype imbalanced is overgiving. So since the Empress is that of abundance and of creativity and motherhood, on the unhealthy disintegration end of this would be giving it all away, to where then you aren't replenished and resourced yourself. So I don't know if that resonates with any of you.
Yeah, right? Never done that before.
Anyone in the teaching world or healing world, or any mothers or any parents in general, or just the tendency to want to give, and that can feel so good. But when you give everything where you are no longer juiced yourself, then that's where it can be on the unhealthy side. So we can just look at that and remind ourselves, so like, what is that true abundance, and how can we continue to fill our own well, our own inner resources, so that it runneth over.
So we have extra to give.
Yeah,
that was really well said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and so I know we discussed about before we made this video today about talking about really how do we embody these tarots in our own personal lives. So for me, being a mother at 19, the Empress has a quality to her where she's seen well in society. So again, with this card, you can see that she's kind of stately, she's noble looking, she's queen-like. So there is an aspect of how you're viewed in society that goes along with the Empress. And for me, when I first had my first child at 19, there wasn't people in my neighborhood having children at 19, and I felt a little bit ostracized. I wasn't viewed well in society for making that decision. So I had to really dig down deep within myself, and it took many years, of course, and just the absolute love I have for my son and how he saved me in so many regards. But it was through that love that I saw reflected in my own child's eyes that I could want to do the work myself, to love myself and bring about that richness, that wisdom, that depth into the world, and not worry so much of how I was viewed by other. And River, you know, I had River more of a conventional way. So I was 33 years old, I was married, and I really recognized the difference. I really recognized how that was viewed with a lot of congratulations, you know, a lot of support from community that I didn't have with Evan. And so what I would ask viewers is, how are you looking at your women? And women in society are very valued as mothers, also very valued for their sexuality. But when it goes a little bit off the normal course, we can be less valued and really feel that way, you know? And as we age, and our beauty might seem from the outer appearances to fade, really some of the older women have that depth of beauty that you couldn't possibly know as a maiden because you haven't stirred up enough of your shit yet. So could you see the beauty in the older woman? Could you take a time to hear her story? And that way you would honor the Empress.
Because as we know from today, losing a very, very bright star in the music world, nothing is permanent. And as reflected in this card, there is a white dove flying. So, how do we see beauty that lasts? Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up our sweet prince.
Yeah.
And doves cry.
And doves cry.
Thank you.
Thanks.